happy Wednesday to everyone out there watching some valuable coaching today. Um, Today we're starting what we call Wisdom Wednesdays. So we're trying to get some wisdom from either previous coaches we've interviewed or find new coaches or find some other videos out there to break down a little bit and try and pass on some wisdom that we've found to other coaches. And today we have a great, as Kevin called it, little gold nugget from previous coach we interviewed, Todd Hollenbeck from Menlo College. And so we're going to go ahead and take a listen to that and then, break it down a little bit on the other side. First, I want to remind people, though, check us out on YouTube, subscribe, like our videos, leave us some questions. Follow us on Instagram at Valuable Coaching, and you can also follow us on Facebook at Valuable Coaching. And then you can listen to all of our content on most podcast platforms: Anchor, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and we look forward to continue to try and broaden our scope with everybody. So let's go ahead and start this Wisdom Wednesday today with this great nugget from Coach Todd Hollenbeck.
What is something like a little nugget that you can maybe, there might be some future recruits listening to this or kids that want to play in AI. What is something that a college level coach like yourself that is impressed when you see something in the gym that maybe not another coach is impressed with?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. And it's something I really worked on when I was at SC, was just vision in general, watching a kid's eyes in terms of how they read the game, right? Watching a middle and just watching their head when they're read blocking. What are they looking at? How are they responding, right? What's the hand-eye coordination in terms of seeing the ball, tracking the ball? Because you might see a middle who's only 6'3", but if he's got the vision, it doesn't matter. You could train him to be one of the best blockers in the gym if he jumps okay, but has the vision, because he's always going to be able to read and make good read block plays. But it's like some of these guys that are really tall, sometimes they don't read very well. And granted, you can teach kids to read, but if they already have that like quick hand-eye coordination and quick vision and reaction speed, that's something that's like, okay, now we can put on a couple pounds, we can get you in the gym lifting, get your vertical up, and now not only you have a step ahead reading, but now we can get you moving fast and explosive. That, because obviously I'm a middle blocker, so that's something I look for, because that was something I always struggled with, is my vision. And a lot of coaches, I remember John Spraw absolutely bearing me one practice about how I needed to keep my head up so I could see things. But I didn't have a lot of coaches ever really break down all the little bits and pieces of blocking vision for me as a blocker. So watching kids do that, and then you could say that about any position. Like, how do kids track the ball coming over the net when they pass? Because a kid might be on a twos team and just average physically, but if you can track how he reads the game and he's a step ahead of some other guys, you can work. That's a huge piece to work with, because again, it's about training him up on all those other things. But if you also have to train a kid how to read from the ground up, it can be very difficult, especially if you want to play. Like in our gym, we're so competitive, that we recruit kids that already have kind of that vision. So to bring a kid in that's a full step slower than everybody else takes time to get them to kind of. And I was happy enough that with a little bit of luck and some strategic recruiting, that we were capable of having such a competitive gym. But every year is not going to be perfect. So I think that's the one little piece that I took away that has really changed kind of how I look at. Because it's always like, hey, I could see a guy jump high.
Right. That is a great piece of advice from Coach Todd about really how he goes about recruiting and separating recruits out a little bit. And, we're not all college coaches and we're not all having the chance to go out and necessarily recruit. But if you're put in a situation where you're having to pick teams, if you're having to make cuts on a high school team, this can be a great tool for you to utilize. And that is to really watch not only how kids are playing the game and how they move, but also how they watch the game and read what is going on. I know this is something that, it's easy to miss. It's easy to see the kid, especially in a high school gym, at a freshman or JV level, who can serve the ball really hard, or who can maybe hit the ball hard. But again, you're gonna have times where you gotta make some cuts, and you gotta find people who are gonna round out your team. And if you watch close enough to see how people are moving, you can help teach those kids the skills to hit a little harder, to serve a little tougher. But it's really hard to, like Coach Todd said, it's really hard to teach the skill of reading the court and using your eyes. But it's not to say, like he said, that it can't be taught, but it's going to be a lot harder if they already have that ingrained in them, to move to the right spot on the court, to follow the ball correctly, to move to the right spot. Then again, you can make small adjustments to how they hold their platform, to how they hit the ball, to their footwork. Those things are going to be a lot more coachable than that kind of just natural instinct to follow the ball correctly. I think too, this is an important point for middle school, 12 and under, 14 and under age coaches to really try and implement into their game. And if you don't know how to do it, then you should go seek that out and find some videos on YouTube. Find a local college coach in your area, because that's one thing that Kevin and I have found, is that all these college coaches are very willing to share information and to help, especially coaches who are coaching high school and club and younger kids out. And so seek that out. Learn how to teach, how to follow the ball, teach them eye sequencing when they're blocking, and get that ingrained in them at a young age, and it makes it easier on these other coaches, and you're going to give them a leg up, like Coach Todd said. So even if they're not the tallest player in the gym, if they're able to read those things, they're going to have an opportunity. I can remember players that I played with, they weren't always the tallest players, but they were good because of the way that they could track the ball, they could read where the set was going. And I didn't fully understand it probably till later on, but that was a big part of it, was because the way they were following the game with their eyes. And so, that's the wisdom for today that I think we can all take away. If you're a player watching this, you got to try and find ways to start to read the game and use your eyes and eye sequencing to get better. If you're somebody coaching a young team, then you need to really get on your kids and watch their eyes and allow them to read the game. And then if you're somebody out there recruiting, making cuts, look for this as something that separates these kids out, and then use your skills as a coach to refine their physical skills, rather than this kind of mental skill that's a little bit tougher to ingrain in them. So hopefully this is some great wisdom for you guys out there. I think Coach Todd, this was something that I don't really think of. It doesn't jump to my mind right away when I'm thinking about the way I've made cuts, or the way I've decided who to give playing time to. But when I think back on it, there have definitely been players that I've had that they just seem to always get in the right spot at the right time. And a big part of that is because they are following the ball and they're engaged in the game. I think some players at times, they make a great play, and then they kind of disengage a little bit. They're excited about it. And those players that really have this good eye sequencing ingrained in them, and that have this great engagement in the game, they're going to make 2 or 3 good plays in a rally, and really be able to stay in there and be in the right spot continuously. So again, moving forward, I hope that this is a tool that people can use. I hope this is a great piece of wisdom from Coach Todd, over there at Menlo College. And again, I hope everybody will continue to follow us. We're going to continue to try and bring new stuff. We got 2 coaches, or a coach coming up this week, and we also have a strength and conditioning coach too. So that's something we've been hearing from all these coaches, is how important conditioning is, and learning how to do it correctly. So that should be a great interview. We should be able to pull out some great clips from that and break them down a little bit. And in this time, if you're in one of these states that's having some tighter lockdowns, I know here in California, indoor volleyball is not really going to happen right now. This is a great way to continue to make sure that you're staying in shape is by conditioning, by working out, figuring out how to do body weight stuff at home. If you have some weights, how to use them, and again, how to do it correctly. So I'm really excited for what we have coming up. Again, if you guys have questions, if you have things you want to see, if you have questions you want us to ask some of these people that we have coming up, please make sure you put those either on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and we really do want to help everybody out who's following us and get your questions answered by some of these great coaches. So anyways, hope everybody has a great Wednesday. We have a Thoughtful Thursday tomorrow where we're going to be breaking down the importance of maybe reading some books, and we got a short interview with an athletic director who is using something called Inside Out coaching at the school that he athletic directs at, and he does a great job breaking down a couple of the books that go along with that. And we also have a clip from Coach Chris Thomas who really talked about the importance of that too. So give us a listen tomorrow also, and then we'll help carry you through the rest of the week on Friday with some new content that day too. So anyways, hope everybody has a great Wednesday, and again, follow us on YouTube, Instagram at Valuable Coaching, and then give us a listen on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and wherever you can find podcasts. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Valuable Coaching. Please check out our sponsor, One Stone Apparel. Check them out, onestoneapparel.com, or email Dave at onestoneapparel.com. They make great apparel, easy to use, lots of artwork. They'll help you create your own artwork or create something from the artwork you already have. So check them out, onestoneapparel.com.